What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for watching my videos again. Today I have a good one for you, a lot of jam-packed knowledge, and I really want you guys to comment down below and tell me, do you guys like this type of video where I'm putting out me in a little bubble with the presentation like this, or do you guys like the scenery more? And I mean, you can say both if you want, but I personally think that the scenery type with the nice background and me talking all motivational, those type of videos are really good and inspirational. I think you guys get a lot more knowledge from these videos. So just let me know down below, and let's get right into the video. So, how to eat to become your, love doing this, ideal physical self. So this guy's jacked, this guy's flexible, this guy has endurance. What do all of these guys have in common? They ran away from the idea of being a fat loser. Let's be real. This guy, or I don't want to say guy, single him out, but this individual is quite chubby. As you can see, he definitely eats a lot of this type of food, right? Um, and you can see kind of this, I drew this, but it's kind of symbolic in a way that you're almost, when you eat this type of food and this becomes you, you almost have like a false sense of trappedness. You kind of feel like you're fat and there's not much getting around it. You have the fat on you now, so you're kind of screwed. And nobody really says this to themselves, but this is kind of what we all think when we're chubby. I used to be really chubby when I was younger, and I guess I'm younger, but everybody has this at every age, so there's no excuse. You think that you're kind of screwed when being fat, so this kind of, it feels trapping, when in reality it's just not the case. We can learn how to eat and become whatever type of body we want using the information of our DNA, of our biology, because we all have the capability of looking like these guys. So before we get into anything, I need to say a few disclaimers. This is educational only. This is not medical advice. I hope nobody, runs with this full force. It is good knowledge, but talk to a doctor if you're making any like big things. Don't don't like blame me if you do anything crazy yourself. I'm just giving you the information. You use it as you see fit. Blood work over opinions. If you're trying to make any big decisions, talk to a doctor. Make sure you get tests, run individual experiments to see what works for you, what doesn't. I'm not to blame. I'm just the messenger. So let's get into it. Disclaimer is done. First thing, one size does not fit all. This is the biggest misconception in the whole diet industry, where a new diet will come out every 5 years and people will go crazy for it for like 2 months until they forget and go on to the next diet, right? We really need to realize that everybody's body is built different. The constitution, the structure, the biological structure, the endocrine system, the parasympathetic, sympathetic. We're going to get into all those. Don't worry. Your anabolic, your catabolic systems, all that are truly specificized to you as an individual. And you may have similar to others, so we'll get into that. But remember this, one size does not fit all. It is a big no-no to think that what will work for that guy is going to work for that girl. What's going to work for that guy is going to work for that guy. Yes, sometimes it does, but it's not the rule of thumb to go by. Next, our psychological relationship to food. So we do have this kind of connection of mentally to food, as we can see from somebody like this, where he's kind of chubby and it's like a trapped feeling, as we talked about. When we have a relationship with food, it's bound to be one of these reasons, either for fuel, which is, in my opinion, the best reason, because we need nutrition. For comfort, so it makes people feel better. I'm a very much a person that has fallen into this category. For stimulation, McDonald's food tastes really good on the tongue. It feels good. Like, the sensations feel really good. And some even for control. So maybe somebody will eat really, really healthy, it means to control how they see themselves physically and all that, or mentally, emotionally, yada, yada, yada. I heard some crazy stories about like parents putting locks on doors, because for their children, weird, crazy stuff, but control. All of these factors play into how we shape our relationship with the food we eat. And it really, really can affect our daily lives. So we really kind of need to know what relationship do I have with food, and how is it benefiting or degenerating? Why diets fail. So I guess I should have put this one before this one, but I guess it's fine. Why diets fail. So diets, again, we talk about the whole diet industry and how it's waves and trends of, oh, we should do this. Why do diets fail? And kind of loosen the grip of everybody in 2 months, right? Diets assume at least one or two of these norms. Everyone should eat less. Everybody should eat more protein. Everybody should fast. Everyone should cut out carbs. The consistency in the diet is greater than our body's constitution. I'll talk about this one in one of the next slides. So just if that sounds a little confusing, it's fine. Um, Everyone should eat less. This is like the number one misconception of so many people. And I've had firsthand experience, not of myself, but with people that I've been around, and relationships I've had, where the main idea is, oh my gosh, I'm fat, I just need to eat less food. I need to not have calories in my system so I can lose weight. And yes, that is true. Less calories means, a decline. But in true reality, that isn't actually how it works for some people. Some people, we'll get into it. I'm moving too ahead for myself. Everyone should eat more protein. Yes, this is true. However, when you just say it as a blanket statement, all of these blanket statements kind of are very general and kind of say like, oh yeah, just do this. When in reality, if somebody just does that, it may not work for them. We need to figure out what works for you in your individual sense. And just this kind of goes token with that. Hunger can be, just like we said with the relationship and all that. Hunger can be emotional. It can be stress driven. It can be a dopamine addiction. So let's say if somebody has a stress driven hunger that leads them to wanting to eat more carbs, and but then they say, oh no, we should eat less. Notice how it's like, that sounds true, but their biology might be saying the complete opposite. Hey, I'm really stressed right now. I need some carbs. I need some more calories in my system to move things along. And then check this, in turn, lose weight because your metabolism is on fire now because you gave it extra calories. We'll get into all that, all right? What is the food constitution? When food matches your constitution, hunger chills out, energy flows regularly, body composition corrects itself. So what is constitution? I guess I should have put that, but constitution is basically the structure of your biology, the structure of your systems, and just not how they function, just the actual structure. So imagine like the stone bricks of a building. When it's good and it's kind of followed, remember Constitution, like the United States American Constitution, it's like rules in a sense. It's like the structured rules of how it works. When the food connects with it, all of these things work together, which is exactly what we want. And why do most people not know this? Because it's so much easier to say, hey, we have a diet for you. When in reality, all you need to do is follow your body. You can watch one of my other videos of the self-love, listening to your body. Sorry, that's in my paid course, Ideal Physical Self, $28, not that bad. Go ahead if you want it. But listening to your body is how you get all these things. I could stop the video right here and tell you just to listen to your body, but that might not help you that much. So no obsession is required. You really don't need to stick to some strict diet that forces you to eat like this, and then in 3 months from now you'll have your dream body. Do you really think God made it that way? Do you think God made a system where you have to listen to the opposite of how your body feels? And of course, when we work out, our bodies feel hurt and we want to stop, but you intuitively know this is helping me. This is good. And when you're in the right frame of mind, when you're in the right mindset, you can watch some of my other videos on that. When you're in the right mindset, you know the hard exercise is helping you. It feels good. The pain feels good because you have the right mindset. When your food matches your constitution and you have the right mindset, you're going to love what you're eating. You're going to love what you're consuming. And in turn, your hunger chills out, your energy flows regularly, and your body composition, how you look, like your biceps, your chest, your abs, whatever, it corrects itself. It just naturally becomes how it should be. There's no need for any strict routine. Well, we'll get into that. But there's no need for any hard kind of mental battle of, no, it has to be this way. Your body knows what it's doing. And as I said about the, how do I put this, vocabulary, some people, and personally over a few weeks ago, I know catabolic, anabolic, but truly these are the systems that play a huge role in how our bodies work. So catabolic, it breaks down, burns, and uses energy. This is one of the metabolic systems of gaining energy. Anabolic, it builds and stores and holds energy. This is one of the metabolic systems of storing it so you can use it at a later time, or in an emergency sake, say hypothetical, you go stranded in the desert and then you have to not eat for 3-4 days. Your body will start eating some of the energy from the anabolic systems in your body. And catabolic is the opposite. Say you're running in that desert, you are breaking down the things, and you could almost think about it like this, like a cycle like this, where it's like right here is, say, fuel. So fuel is like any nutrition, and then so you get fuel, glucose, in the form of glucose, and then with it, the energy gets added to that glucose, and then it turns into glycogen, and then it's stored in your body as glycogen, and that's kind of that holding energy thing. And then it goes back into catabolic, where you take that glycogen and then it turns into glucose again to then get the energy. So you can see it's almost like a recycling type thing, or not really recycling because you're adding new fuel, but you get the idea. Catabolic uses energy, anabolic stores energy for the catabolic to use. Sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. So these are your nervous system. So far we have, where is it? Constitution, which is the structure of our body. Catabolic and anabolic, which is the metabolistic? No, that's not the right word. Metabolic systems. And now we have our nervous system. I should put it. Nervous system. Our nervous system has two components, and you could basically think about them like the fight or flight. So you have your sympathetic nervous system, one part of your nervous system, which is the fight or flight. The kind of the heart rate goes up, you're activated, you're on, basically, in a sense. This is, say, when we reach our flow states in running, or when we're sparring in MMA, or we're doing one of our heavy sets in lifting, whatever it is. The sympathetic nervous system takes over, and we're very, very active. Digestion goes lower. That's a very key idea with the sympathetic nervous system, the activated system. Our pupils dilate, the whole, think of every system as kind of in when your sympathetic is turned on. Think of all your organs, the ones that help you kind of turn on, they lift, and then the ones that kind of take energy tone down. So say your stomach, digestion, it goes down. Your heart rate is going to pump up because blood is going to be circulating more. You're going to be on, you're going to be alert. Your pupils dilate, so you take in more light, so you can see things clearer. Your vision gets sharper. Fight or flight, remember that. That's sympathetic, on. And our parasympathetic is our off. It's calm, resting, digesting. This is kind of when we're sleeping. This is when we're reading. This is all the modes of just chill, and where our mind kind of can take the back seat and kind of chill. Both of these do play a very big role in our eating habits and our, diet structure, because when your nervous system has a certain feeling, you're going to in turn move with that emotion. So let's say if your sympathetic system dominates your eating habits, you're probably going to eat irregularly. You're probably going to feel like not eating very much in one moment and then going crazy in one moment because you feel like you're starving. Because if your digestion lowers, then you're going to feel like not eating. You're going to forget to eat like 3/4 of the day. And then at 9 p.m., you're going to be like, shoot, I'm so hungry. That's a system of sympathetic. Now, in an opposite way, the parasympathetic, say you're kind of chilling all day, you feel hungry. Your digestion, it's going up. You're eating your food a lot, and so then you're digesting your food. So now your body's like, oh wait, I'm kind of hungry. So in turn, maybe it's like you chill out at home all day, but you eat a lot of food. So that's the nervous system: parasympathetic and sympathetic. Fight or flight, rest and digest. Now let's get into the body types. This is really where our kind of system of constitution starts unfolding into how it actually manifests in our bodies. So we have ectomorphs, mesomorphs, and endomorphs. And we're going to talk about all these in detail right now. So the first one we'll talk about is ectomorph, the lanky, skinny, narrow type of body type. We have some famous guys right here: Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt. Kind of forgot this guy's name, but you can kind of see a similarity with all their bodies. See these rounded shoulders, and these guys are jacked. I'll tell you that much. These guys are super jacked. They definitely all have been working out. They're actors. They're gonna be jacked for their films. So, and I kind of put these here for a little motivation for you guys to realize, even if you're an ectomorph and maybe you even look like this, like skinny, tall, you have the ability to look good with proper training, proper fuel. These are ectomorphs body types. They have fast metabolism, so these guys were on huge amounts of calories for these roles, most definitely. They were training a lot. They're hard gainers. So you can see they do have muscle mass, but you can kind of tell like it's not that much. Like they worked hard for this muscle. And you could kind of be like, oh yeah, they don't have that much muscle mass, but it's kind of works in their favor though, because they don't need that much to look good. They're easily lean. So being that they have a fast metabolism, they can try really hard to gain muscle and get it, but then become lean with it. So it's a win-win in a sense for their body type. Staying skinny without trying, lose weight fast when stressed. We didn't really talk about that. So yeah, when you're stressed, the fire, we'll get into these elements thing, like air, fire. What does that mean? Basically elements run the show. if you can think about it, we're made up of air, water, fire, earth in a very, metaphysical kind of alchemical way. But this type of air fire, you are going to, we know, imagine a car engine. There's air that take intake into the engine, and then fire, the kind of pistons blowing up contained. Um, so when it's stressed, when there's a lot of, when there's a lot of tension and pressure, it's going to, people like ectomorphs are going to lose and have a fast metabolism because they're fiery. It's constantly burning fuel that disappears quickly. That's kind of the sense of this body type. Ectomorphs, food equals fuel that disappears quickly. These guys need to eat like 3,500 calories every day and work out because their body is going to just run through those calories. So, what are some good foods for these guys? Best beginner foods would be just, I'm putting very generic foods. You don't really need to go all crazy. Steak, lean meat, honey, potatoes, rice, densely densely carbed and dense calories and dense carbs. That's what we're going for. Olive oil, huge, huge, huge. Put olive oil on your steak, potatoes, eggs, rice. Calories, calories, calories. Because again, look at these bodies. These are nice, but they're ectomorphs. They're not. And personally, I am an ectomorph, so I can relate that you lose a few pounds if you don't stay, consistent with eating these high, dense things. Again, no skipping meals. Keto, not a friend of the ectomorph. Carbs are friends. Carbs are friends. Fruits, great. Fruits, honestly, I'd recommend for every single human. Fruits are electrifying. Fruits are the one food that just spikes creative energy. And I don't just say that because for me, I say it because it electrifies your system. Fruits are just go, go, go. Fire needs fuel or it burns down the house. That's a really good analogy for an ectomorph because fire is going to move very quickly. And if you don't supply it with the right, in the sense, water to dampen the fire, well, you're not trying to dampen the fire. You get what I'm saying. You get the idea. So yeah, these foods, great. Don't skip meals. Don't try fasting. Don't try to be like, just don't try any of that hard stuff. We got to put some, meat on your bones as an ectomorph. And I'm not saying that out of disrespect. I am an ectomorph, so I'm taking this advice as I tell it to you guys. Next one. Mesomorph. So mesomorph is actually pretty cool. It's the middle ground. So it's fire and earth. So like we said, earth in the catabolic system, it is the anabolic. So it takes in and holds energy. I think I put that there, right? Did I? Yeah, mesomorph, fire. Okay. Yeah. The very athletic type builds muscle easily. As you can see from this picture, this is a really like shredded picture. So it might not look like most people because this is like a top 1% type human body, but gains fat is sloppy. So you could tell this guy's been working out for years and years. He's definitely on a nice diet that works for him. He's clearly athletic. But if he stopped working out and he started eating kind of bad, he would gain fat quicker than the ectomorph. And I don't know about endomorph, but definitely this type of body type has fire. So when it works out and it, stays consistent with the training, it definitely can get, these results quicker than say a endomorph. But if you got to stay on top of the diet if you're a mesomorph because it's easy to I don't want to say easy, it's there for you to get that nice body, but if you gotta stay on the horse, you gotta stay on the saddle to keep it up. Exactly. It feels good when the training is consistent. Food is the building materials, so it can adapt fast, but it degrades fast too. So definitely great body type for just getting that body. You know what I mean? Getting that ideal physical self. Best foods to eat for you guys are a little different than ectomorphs because you can gain the muscle, but it's also uh, more of a middle kind of ground. So you don't really want to go too extreme with like the eating hella stuff. You definitely still want your carbs, definitely want your rice, potatoes, definitely want some fish, definitely want some fats. This body type is athletic and it burns quickly, but it also does need the fats from that earth aspect of it has the building, it needs the building materials. And unlike the ectomorph where it's kind of like the you know fat's not fat's not the issue here. um this body type is much more needing of, I don't want to say it's much more needing of nutrition, but it definitely has its, it needs its nutrition. And again, I didn't put fruit here because vegetables would be more valuable for this body type. But again, keeping it simple for a beginner is much better. Again, you want to do your own experiments with the food. I'm just giving out the information. Oats, oats are really good for this one. I bet if this guy definitely went on a run, needs some carbs. So eggs too. Eggs are honestly every body type. Um, and yeah, just more emphasis on the fatty than the ectomorph. This is the warrior constitution. It thrives on order. So if the warrior, it needs fats, bro. Imagine this guy is like on the horse with the spear in his hand, charging at the enemy. You need the fats in your stomach. You know what I mean? You need those healthy omegas to keep the brain sharp, all that. Uh, this body type would honestly be the worst for that influencer type diet because again, you're easy to gain that nice, it adapts fast, but it can fold if you try forcing some kind of diet that wasn't built for your constitution. So mesomorph, great, but definitely needs to know what it's doing and stay in that middle ground, kind of stay in that homeostasis for yourself. Definitely. Slow metabolism, where you got to the last one, last but not least, endomorphs. We got our boy Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt. I love Chris Pratt so much. Great guy, cool dude. You can tell crazy body transmission from this guy. Going from this off the horse dad bod, yells at his kids. His daughter does not like him. Whole not the guy. You know what I mean, in a sense. And then shoom, straight to this hunky Hulk looking guy. Earth water dominant. That's the main different. Again, if you guys are still watching, I'm very much appreciative of you, and I want to kind of give you a little sneak peek of something else I got going on, which is I want to give you guys a sneak peek of something that I'm working on, which is this full guide, and basically has to do with the elements. So if this element stuff that I'm talking about kind of sounds cool and intuitive to you, but you want to learn more about it, check out the link in the description. Ideal Physical Self, $28. If you want, you have so much information. I think I put up the catalog of the different courses I have up there. But yeah, basically goes into depth of like the esoteric meaning of this earth, water, fire, air connection to how our diets work, because truly it does have a connection. And This is very much good for the beginners, but if you're watching this far ahead, you clearly want knowledge, and the course has great knowledge, has sauce too, inspiration like the scenic videos. So check it out if you want. But yeah, endomorph. Endomorphs are shorter, thicker. You can tell. Look at this thick body. Even when he was kind of, fat, he still had that thickness to him. Obviously, strong appetite. Clearly, even when he got shredded in a sense, even though he got bigger and shredded, which is amazing. Strong appetite. This guy can eat. Fat storage is a priority. So if we go back to the anabolic, this is like the main connected with the fuel part. This is like the main idea of the endomorph, of taking in food, taking in fuel, and using it in storage. So this is just, you don't want to get in front of him on a football field. I'll leave it at that. Lower baseline energy. So you can tell he's kind of just like a little lethargy, even though he looks kind of ripped in this one. You can kind of tell he looks a little tired in a sense. And I don't want to say I don't want to take away credit from the body and like the definitely nice high levels of energy has, but look at the face. Look at the face in this one for sure. Low energy, inflammation prone. You can tell if he ate, a few too many oily snacks, he's going to get a puffy face. Very much easier than, say, Ryan Gosling, where look at this guy's face. He's carved out of, look at Brad Pitt. He's carved out of marble, right? This guy doesn't really get inflamed much because it burns off way quicker than it would a guy like Chris Pratt. So how should we deal with something like this? I will have to say it's a little more structured. I'll put it like that. The endomorphs are a little more structured in the sense that protein heavy. Look at this guy. He has protein in his body, if I ever saw it. Lean meats, so low fat with the meats, because higher protein with red meat usually entails less fat. Take out the glucose and corn starches out completely. That is the number one inflammation prone thing. So definitely stay away from the starch. Stay away from the, I know. You want to eat the popcorn with the nice flavors. You want to eat the chips, whatever it is, glucose, whatever. And truly it's not good for you. And why is it not good for you? Because the fuel that is bad, like this, the glucose, the cornstarch, it will take as glucose and it'll be processed through the anabolic system as energy, and it'll be stored. This is not the type that you want to store, right? This is not the type of, somebody just called me. This is not the type of food you want to store. You want to eat very good, clean vegetables because, again, this body is, I'll say on the fattier side. And don't get me wrong, we still want to have our nice fats, but healthy fats. So we're talking salmon, we're talking nuts, eggs, of course. Like I said, everybody should be eating eggs. They're amazing. Don't listen to this crazy idea that cholesterol is worse than the cholesterol synthetically made from a lab. Humans have been eating eggs for thousands of years. We've only been eating oil for what, 30, 40? And look at, you know what I mean? There's great documentaries out there of how the oil industry and oil and sugar industry, I don't want to get too much into this, but how in the 80s it switched from eggs, bacon, bread to Wheaties. You know what I mean? Like it changed to cereal. Like that's better than eggs, right? And then again, I don't want to go on a tangent, but they blame the eggs. The industry, they blame the eggs for the high cholesterol when in fact it was the whole fad diet of cereal and sugars and high cornstarch we're gonna go away from that. We're gonna avoid these types. And I do say avoid these. You might be like, oh damn, the other body types can just eat as much as they want. No, I say this for the endomorph because it's the most affected by the high cornstarches. So yeah, avoid liquid calories. Again, most cornstarch comes from those liquid calories. So if you cut out these, you're cutting out majority of this. Sugar, liquid calories are not good for our endomorph's anabolic system. We want to keep it much cleaner. Again, you love these guys love eating, strong appetite. So avoid the constant snacking because that really compounds over time. This is a good one. Insulin sensitivity is the bottleneck. Control insulin first. So we really want to be careful with our sugar intake. Not saying you guys are like Paul Blart and like you can't, like you're gonna have terrible side effects with sugar. But I mean, if you're an endomorph watching this, check out your pictures of your face when you had a very strong sugary diet. You had much puffier cheeks. You had much more bloated kind of love handles. It's not a bad thing. It's just the sugar. So definitely want to cut out these. If you're anxious or stimulated, we're kind of getting near the end. So I just want to give you guys some good sauce. If you're anxious, wired, overstimulated, you need carbs. You need bread. You need sensation that sits you down. Imagine anxiety, wired overstimulation is like this. You're up in the air. You're like zappy. You're just stimulated, right? And not in the best way possible. Like you kind of feel, overstimulated. You need to be settled down. You need to be kind of grounded. Routine. You need a routine in a sense of, all right, in the mornings, I kind of drink warm tea with my bread and avocado, kind of think more systematic than how you feel in this moment if you're anxious or wired. Sleep before restriction. That's really important because most people think, and I'm going to explain this and it's going to sound so bizarre, but most people think when they're anxious or they have a lot of anxiety that they need to kind of tough it out. They need to like strongman the feeling so then it dissipates, when in reality, strongmanning an anxious attack is only going to create more anxiety because you're kind of like focusing on the anxiety inadvertently, if that makes any sense. So sleep before restriction basically means like give yourself a break. Let your body get back into this like parasympathetic part of our nervous system where we're more relaxed. You know what I mean? Digesting. So when we're anxious, we're most likely in this sympathetic system of like thinking that there's something needing to be going on. When in reality, we're just anxious. We need to chill out, eat some carbs, eat some bread, eat some pasta, have a nice, I'm not going to tell you to drink wine, but eat some pasta with some red wine. You know what I mean. I'm not gonna tell some 15-year-old to drink, but you get the idea. You need to be a little more chilled out, and carbs, routine, and sleep are going to be your best friends for anxiety. If you're calm, sluggish, and heavy, like the opposite of anxiety, you need lower carbs. So I hope the reasoning is reasoning. If you're anxious, you need more carbs. If you're sluggish, you need less carbs, right? Fasting works really good too. So if you're calm and sluggish and heavy, it's usually because you're kind of carb overloaded. You kind of have a lot of digestion going on. So fasting, you're going to empty your system out, and then in a way you gain energy by not having more food in your system. Because think about it, if you have a bunch of I really wish I had that animation of one video I'm thinking about. I'll get it. There's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of fuel, right? And here, this is the best one. There's a bunch of fuel. So when there's a bunch of fuel and you have a bunch of glucose, which is glucose, and then energy goes in, so you have a bunch of energy stored, you're gonna feel that parasympathetic. You're gonna feel that sluggish feeling. But if you fast and you wash away your system, you're gonna kind of get into that more catabolic state where you're breaking down that glycinogen, which was a bunch of fuel. You're going to break it down and it turns into energy. So imagine this is fasting. This is what fasting is. You're breaking down the fat and the fuel within your body and turning it into energy. So if you're sluggish, fast, and then you'll gain energy. If you're heavy, if your body feels heavy, don't eat for 12 hours. If you already ate within the last 24, you get what I'm saying? Like, don't extreme yourself into something, because the last thing I want is for my fans to take my advice and feel worse. Please know intuitively that to be safe. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, being simple is greater than variety. You don't have to take some supplement to feel energized. Like, our bodies know what they're doing. If you listen to your constitution, you'll be just fine. The mind digests food before the stomach. This is going to be one of my most esoteric advice in this whole video. When you eat carbs, like we just talked about with the anxiety, when you eat carbs, you feel brain fog before you feel the digesting. Your mind is going to be affected by the food you eat way before your biology. 80%, I'm pretty sure, of our calories go to our brain. 80%, or no, was it 20? No, I'm pretty sure it was 20. I think I'm tripping, bro. It was 20. We can look it up. Yeah, a lot of can you please? A lot of calories go to our brain. And so when that is true, I really just want to write 20. 20% calories go to our mind. So if that's true, that means that when we work, when we go to school, when we think, when we use our philosophical mind and we ponder ideas, when we're interacting socially, all of these things are affected by what we consume. So diet, food is not just about vanity. It's not just about that, hourglass look for the girls. It's not just that six pack, big shoulders. It's, of course, we all, girls want this, guys want this. It's great. It's good. We all want to look cool for each other, have nice bodies. So we all just are more aesthetically pleasing, because that's getting closer to God, But our minds are the true part of the food. So we really, really have to take in this idea of our mind digest food before our stomach. Again, we're aiming towards this, right? We're aiming towards the big biceps, the nice forearms. We're aiming towards the skinny waist for the girls, the big hips. All that stuff is great. But if it's not kind of in the focus of having our brain sharp, what is this beautiful body? What is this nice life with a good physique? What does it mean if we're not in the right mental state to appreciate it, one, but also to use it in the real world, right? Our mind digests food before our stomach does. And I'll leave you guys with one more thing as we hit our 44 minutes. Wow. Tall and skinny. Force calories, dude. Just eat more calories. Short and thick, hold up on the snacks. We already went into detail, so I'm not going to go too crazy, but short and thick, right? Your constant snacking is something we should avoid, right? Tall and skinny, force them calories. You know what I'm saying? Like, get those high dense calories, dense, all that stuff. I really want you guys to know that if you're here, calories are your friend. If you're here, Calories are also your friend, but not really, in the sense that you just need less of them. Okay? Healthy food is the priority in all of this, because healthy food is like, imagine a very greedy man who loves diamonds and gold. Imagine you're and the more diamonds and gold you give this greedy man, he's going to show you the secrets of some things that other people don't know but are advantageous for you. Think about that greedy man as your body's systems of digestion, and the more good food, the more gold, the more diamonds you give the greedy man, your digestive system, the more it's going to help you, the more it's going to give you things that you didn't realize it's going to give you. Your body gifts you when you gift it. So gifting your body is giving it healthy food, hydration, electrolytes, exercise, all of these simple things that our parents tell us when we're 4, hopefully. All the simple things done extremely pointing in terms of your body type, it gets you there. It just gets you there. Listen to your body, listen to your constitution, follow the steps, get ideal physical self to get more, of that greedy guy's advantageous stuff, and be your ideal physical self in the mind, and then it'll happen in the world. Our inner world reflects our outer world. So if we feed ourselves great and we do good to our body and we feel in our mind that we're our ideal physical self, the world, our body, it's going to be represented so amazingly. And I hope the best for you guys' journey. I really hope this video helped you guys in some way. If it didn't, I'll try to make another one that does. Please, please, please be your ideal physical self every day, whatever that means to you, and have a great new year, 2026. Love you guys.